Hey everyone, welcome to Market Weekly with Meta One. I'm your co-host Justin, and I'm here along with the other host of Market Weekly, Fernando. And we're excited to talk. We have a lot to talk about today. This market just continues to move at a blink of an eye, and the continue meltdown of the global markets continues, and there's been some pretty crazy stuff happening the last week. But with that, hey Fernando, how you doing?
Hey Justin, I'm doing great. Thank you for the introduction. I'm always happy to be here. So today we're going to talk about several topics. We're going to continue talking a little bit about inflation. We're going to continue talking a little bit about the Terra Luna fiasco. And we're also going to talk a little bit about CBDCs. But before we go there, we're gonna start as usual by doing a little quick technical analysis of the market to share what we think that's going to happen, in the next couple of weeks, also long term. So yeah, let's give it a go. As you can see here, I'm looking at the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin. And last week we had this medium-sized short squeeze, and then we were talking about the possibility of having another short squeeze, and we had the Fed come out and talk about the interest rates. I believe they increased the interest rate a lot higher than before.
They did. They increased it by 75 basis points.
75 basis points, which is a lot. And it's funny because I was actually talking to Justin, and he was telling me like, it's crazy that, the Fed just announced that they're going to increase the interest rates, and the market went up. And we can see here that the market went up. And then I told you, like, don't worry about it. This is a short squeeze. The market's going to do the opposite, and then it's gonna come crashing down.
Yep.
And what happened a couple hours later, we can see, the market went back down to the original level. And I mean, it makes me sad to see this because the same people that are doing these short squeezes, are the whales. A regular person cannot move the market in this direction. I mean, you need to have billions of dollars in order to be able to do something like this. And, the only people that have that amount of money are, the government and the people that the government work with. So pretty much, how the government and the feds say that, market manipulation is not allowed and it is illegal and blah, blah, blah. Well, they're doing it. And, if you know how to look at the numbers, that they're doing it, and they think we don't realize, they think we're idiots and we're not going to find out, but we are. And there's really nothing we can do. Well, right now, maybe there's nothing we can do about it. And it makes me so sad to see how they're against, their mantra is the war against drugs and the war against, manipulation and all that stuff. And they're the guys fighting the wars, and they're the guys manipulating the market. And it just makes me sad. But we can see here that, yeah, so the market went up a little bit, and then a few hours later, it got pushed down. So now, I mean, I guess that the next move for the market should be to start going down, because there's a lot of negative stuff going on. But I can see here that, there's a few green candles indicating that it is going up. So what this tells me is that there's going to be another short squeeze before we go down. And let me use my tools. There we go. So in last week's podcast, I was saying that I was expecting again a short squeeze, and that it would probably bounce either at 38% or at the golden pocket. And it did bounce at the 38% level. However, I was not expecting another short squeeze, but I guarantee you 100% is going to happen. We're most likely going to see the market either bounce here one more time or bounce over here. I guarantee you it's not gonna go above here because right now, I'm always saying that I'm bearish at this time, and maybe I don't explain why, and I'm gonna do that right now. I'm not bearish on the long term. I'm just bearish in the next couple of weeks, maybe months. And the reason why I'm bearish is because, give me a second. So right now, there's a lot of bad stuff going on the market all over the world. So technically, we are already in a recession. If we go to the definition of the word recession, it's a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced, generally indicated by a fall in the GDP in 2 successive quarters. So
Hey, at
what
least the
that,
Biden administration didn't change the Oxford Dictionary
yeah,
definition of a recession
yeah.
yet.
Exactly. So, and Biden came out the other day and he said that we were not in a recession, that he went and changed the definition of the word recession on Wikipedia. And this is all, they're doing it for propaganda. We're gonna have the elections very soon, and he doesn't want to admit that under his administration there was a recession. So this is all due to political concerns. However, they are hiding the truth from the people. They're being deceitful, and they're lying to everyone because numbers do not lie. And if we go here to this website tracks the GDP of the country, and these numbers are real. They're backed, by the actual reporting of the companies after they go to the government administration, and the administration analyzes the reports, and then they come back and they post them here. And we can see, if we look at the numbers, we can see that we most definitely had 2 consecutive quarters under negative growth. So by definition, if you go to any book in economics, if you go to any university, if you go to Harvard or whatever you want, and you ask a professor of economics, or if you look at the book that you're using, for the class of economics, and you look for the word recession, is gonna be the same as this definition, which is 2 consecutive quarters under negative GDP. So again, there's 2 quarters under a negative GDP. So technically, we're in a recession. And to make things worse, this recession caused by printing money is not only affecting the US, it's affecting all the governments in the planet. Right now, the United Kingdom just came out and admitted that they're in a recession. So UK in recession, says Bank of England, as it raises interest rates to 2.25%. Britain's economy is now in recession, the Bank of England has said. So, the United Kingdom already had the guts to admit that they're in a recession. Hopefully, the US will admit it very, very soon. I don't know if the
I
president's
doubt
gonna
it.
be, I don't know. I want to believe that eventually, the people are gonna see that the government's lying, and the government is going to have to come out and admit it. Like you said, I also doubt it. At this point, I feel like the government is so deep down on a lie, they're just doubling down,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
doubling, like it makes me angry, and at the same time makes me sad to see how they're just extending their lies, and they're expecting people to believe it. Maybe the most uneducated people are still believing it, but all the educated people already know that they're lying. So it just makes me very sad to see how most of us are here, and we just want to be happy. We just want to live a peaceful life. We just want to love and be loved, and we can't, because we have these people with dubious intentions, full of resent and hate, and they're just lying. And these people with all this negative energy, they're the one in control of the economy. So I cannot live a peaceful life. I know I cannot just be happy because these people are not only depreciating my currency, but they're taking decisions that are affecting my life. For example, the war with Ukraine right now. The United States have absolutely no reason to be messing with Russia. However, they're printing more money out of thin air. They're giving that money to the Ukrainian people, and they're fighting a war. And that war is increasing, the prices of, basic goods. Is making the world, not a better place. We're under a war, and there's a lot of negative stuff going on due to this war that's going on Ukraine and Russia right now. And there is no reason to be having that war. It's not like the United States really cares if Russia and Ukraine are one same country or a different country. That's totally up to Russia. And I agree that wars are not good, and maybe there's another way to resolve this conflict. But the United States is not trying to resolve the conflict. The United States is just like trying to put more fire on a fire. So things are getting complicated. And
yeah, and I'd love to comment on this because I think it's a very important point. This is the military industrial complex. This is the way that they make money for themselves. I actually read an article the other day. I can actually see if I can find it, but they were saying that 70% of the weapons that the United States is sending to the Ukraine are not actually reaching the Ukrainian military once they cross the border. And they don't actually know what's happening to 70% of the weapons that they're sending to Ukraine. And at the same time, the United States government is printing billions of dollars, and like you said, and giving it to the Ukrainian government under the guise of fighting this war. But really, in all honesty, we don't know what that money is being used for. It could be being used for something completely different. It could be being used to lace people's pockets. We have no clue. And you're exactly right. I mean, it never made any sense to me why. Well, it makes sense why they want wars, but from a human perspective, peace is actually the most, and if you look at it from a capitalist perspective, peace is actually the most desirable thing for a capitalist, because it increases trade, it increases production, it increases GDP, everybody's happier, everybody's more wealthy, and it is way better. So that's why we really are not seeing anyone who is for this whole war in the Ukraine, because everyone is fed up. I mean, I see these photos and these videos of war protests, anti-war protests all over the place, even in Russia, all over the place, because I think that humanity is like, okay, are we done? Like I think I mentioned the other day on one of our podcasts that I heard a statistic that we've, as the human race, we have fought 16,000 wars since the beginning of recorded history. And it's like, when are we going to start to understand that this is being manipulated, and we have to start standing up and saying, no, we're not going to participate in this. I mean, I am blown away as someone who lives in the United States of America that more people are not going, why the hell are you sending billions of dollars every single month to Ukraine? And also pledging that they're going to basically do this until at least 2025, which tells you that that's how long they want the war to go, at least. And when we have massive amounts of poverty in this country, we have massive amounts of people who are starting to be out of jobs. We have a lot of people who are technically in poverty, living in poverty. It just doesn't make any sense.
I agree. And that's the main reason why I was trying to explain why I feel bearish at this time, why I feel like the market's still going to continue moving downwards. And the reason why is because one, we're in a recession. Two, we're at war. Three, the government is printing a lot of money. So in addition to that, all these scenarios also created an energy crisis. So right now, the facts are that everything's negative. And like you said, the best time for an economy is to avoid war. Why? Because when you avoid war, the numbers are green. There's prosperity, companies grow. And you know what? In addition to everything I just said, we just came out of a pandemic. So there's really no reason to be bullish on the short term because there's a lot of negative factors that are indicating that the price of the market is going to keep going down.
Yep.
So it is going to keep going down. Like I've said before, we most likely, I feel like we're probably going to see the bottom in the next couple of weeks, maybe months, maximum by Q1 of 2023. It's not gonna be negative forever. Eventually, we're gonna reclaim our bullish sentiment, but we still have a few more steps to climb down. And I've already talked in previous podcasts about the price levels that I'm expecting. So if you want to know more about the price levels, I would recommend you to watch the previous podcast that we recorded. I talk a lot about where I'm expecting the price of Bitcoin to bounce. And yeah, so that's pretty much the reason why I know, and this is not me like being like, I believe this is going to happen. No, I know for sure that the market's still going to go down because of all the reasons that I just mentioned. And yeah, so for my analysis, that's all I have. I wanted to talk a little bit further about what we were talking on the previous podcast, which was inflation. So I made this Excel chart explaining how the inflation worked with the US dollar. Let me get my glasses. So I wanted to talk a little bit further about the inflation with Terra Luna. So what happened with Terra Luna is exactly the same thing that happened with the US dollar. It is literally the same thing. And I want to talk about this because it's very interesting. So around February of this year, the market cap of Terra Luna was 40 billion, and it had a circulating supply of 350 million. So this would bring us at a price of each Terra Luna was about $113 per Terra Luna. So if you wanted to buy a Hershey bar, you would need a 0.01 Terra Luna. So then Terra Luna started printing a lot of Terra Luna to back up the price of the Terra USD, which was an algorithmic stable coin backed by Luna. So pretty much it was a Ponzi. So there's really no way to explain exactly how it worked because it was a Ponzi. There was no way to back the value of the Terra USD. And when they realized that there was no way to back the value of the Terra USD, what did they do? They started printing Terra Luna out of thin air. So there were only 350 million Terra Luna, and they started printing Terra Luna that they didn't have. So I'm going to show you what happens when I add a zero here. So now there's 3.5 billion Terra Luna in circulation. What happened to the price? Now from $113, the price of one Terra Luna is $11. What happened to the to the purchasing power? Okay, so now one Terra Luna equals 0.09 for a Hershey bar. So back before they added this extra zero, you only needed 0.01 to buy one Hershey bar. Okay, so it doesn't end here. So they added 10 times the circulating supply, and this is what happened. Now I'm gonna add another zero because we still have a long way to go. Hold on. Okay, now we have 35 billion circulation supply of Terra Luna. What happened? The price of one Terra Luna, the purchasing power, went from $11, it was 113 before, to $1.13. What happened to the price of a Hershey bar? Now, one Terra Luna, no, I'm sorry, 0.88 equals one Hershey bar. But it doesn't end there. So now they added another zero. What happened to the price of Terra Luna? One Terra Luna is now 11 cents. So how much is one Hershey bar? From 0.001 per Hershey bar, now one Hershey bar equals 8.84 Terra Lunas. But it didn't end there. They added another zero.
Jeez.
Hold on. I used the wrong cell. Just a second. Another zero, and then they multiplied it by 2.
Nice. Oh, of course.
So yeah, so they added about 4 zeros, and then they multiplied it by 2. Let me just make the change here to 6,900,000,000,000. That's how many Terra Lunas they have now. Just a second. There's so many zeros. I'm sorry, there's so many zeros. And guess what? There's even more zeros for the US dollar. So if you think this is a little bit confusing, the US dollar is way worse. Just a second. Yeah, it's so many zeros that I have to make so many changes now. There we go. So now we have a circulating supply of 6.9 trillion Terra Lunas. And what happened to the value of Terra Luna? Well, before, one Terra Luna was equal to $113. How much it is worth now? Well, here we can see that one Terra Luna equals to 0.0057 US dollars. And in order to buy one Hershey bar, you need 172 Terra Lunas to buy one Hershey bar. When before, you only needed 0.01 to buy one Hershey bar. This is literally identically the same thing the US government is doing to the US dollar. The exact same thing. They are printing money out of thin air. They're getting more money in circulation, and the value of the US dollar is being depreciated. So let me tell you what happened to the creator of Terra Luna. So when Do Kwon, which is the creator of Terra Luna, did this, which was a massive scam, he pretty much devaluated the currency that a lot of people were holding, and people took their own lives. People went bankrupt. You know, a lot of people died because of this decision that Do Kwon took. What happened to Do Kwon? Let me show you. Terra's Do Kwon is now wanted in 195 countries after Interpol issues red notice. So after this person made this decision, the government decided to go after him. They decided that what they did was illegal, and that he pretty much screwed a lot of people's lives. A lot of people, like I said, a lot of people took their own life. A lot of people lost all their life savings, and they went bankrupt and all that. And the U.S. government, this guy Powell, what's his name? The chair of the Fed, Jerome Powell.
Yeah, I think that's his first name.
Something like that. Let me Google it real quick. What's his name? It's not saying. I don't know what his name is. It doesn't really matter. But that guy is pretty much doing the exact same thing that Do Kwon did. And I don't see any government agency going after him. I don't know. I don't see the Interpol, releasing a a red flag stating for his arrest. And he did the exact same thing that Do Kwon did. And Do Kwon is now wanted by the Interpol. And this guy, he depreciated the US dollar, pretty much devalued our currency, and now everything's more expensive. There's a lot more money in circulation, and I don't see the government going after him. I mean, do you see anyone going after him after doing the exact same thing that Do Kwon did? No. So, I mean, what does this tell us? That the rules only apply to us, not to them. They can do whatever they want. They can screw up. They can screw up millions of people's lives. They can do whatever they want, and they're going to have no punishment. But whenever one of us screws up, we do pay the price, and
Yep.
we do pay the consequences. So, not only the people in the US, the people all over the world need to realize that the people in power, the people that represent us, they're not doing things right, and they're only looking at their own interest. They're not fighting for us. And things need to change. If things are gonna get better, we need to fight against this corruption and make sure that people are held accountable. Because if not, they're gonna keep doing what they're doing. And the next step is to create a CBDC. And when they create their own CBDC, which is pretty much a cryptocurrency owned by them, it's gonna be game over. So they say that cryptocurrencies are bad because criminals use it and whatever. And now they're making their own cryptocurrency, and they're saying, okay, cryptocurrencies are bad, but use our cryptocurrency. If you use our own cryptocurrency, that is good. But if you use a cryptocurrency that is not owned by us, that is bad. So it really makes no sense. And I want to show you a video from one person that is talking about this. Let me see. I had it somewhere here. Okay, it's her. She's gonna talk about what's happening with the CBDC. Let me know if you can hear the video, because
central bank
can you hear it?
Be careful, you're about to be
Yes.
scammed. The European Central Bank is now promoting a very unethical form of money called a central bank digital currency. It's a little bit like the money that we have now, but these are cryptocurrencies, and they're going to be centralized in the control of the central bank. Because it's a cryptocurrency, it means that it's going to be programmable. So if you have the incorrect opinion, or you like the wrong thing on social media, your money can be programmed to be used against you. Because we're living in a so-called climate crisis and meat is supposedly bad for the environment, if you buy too much meat one week, you can expect that when you go to fill up your car, your money will be declined. Don't believe me? Well, this is coming from the exact same institution that said those that don't get medicine injections every 9 months won't be allowed to travel around Europe. This is also coming from the same institution which basically bankrupted most Cypriots back in 2013 by confiscating their money. Central bank digital currencies will give these institutions absolute control over your money. These are not good people. You should be concerned.
There you go. I mean, she said it in the best way possible. I mean, I couldn't have.
Be careful. You're about to be scammed. The European Central.
I mean, her words are very concise. She explained it so beautifully, and that's exactly what's going on right now. If we give the Fed the power to create these CBDCs, it's game over for us. They're gonna control every aspect of our lives. If at one point we decide we don't like something, they're just gonna freeze our money. And there's gonna be literally nothing we can do. They already did this to the truck drivers in Canada, when they were protesting against the vaccines. They were obligating people to take the vaccines, and they started protesting and saying that no, and I don't know exactly what happened with the truck drivers, but the thing is that what the government did when this happened, they froze all their bank accounts, and they weren't able to pay for their meals, pay for their hotels, and that pretty much they took control away from them. And then they started receiving donations with Bitcoin, and that's how they survived. That's how they continued fighting with Bitcoin. With cryptocurrencies that are not controlled by the actual government. So this is literally what's going to happen if we give the power to the government and we allow them to make a CBDC. It's game over for us. I mean, we're already at the intersection in which if we don't do something about it, I don't know what's going to happen to us, but it's going to be a very bad future looking ahead of us. So
Yeah.
what do you think about this?
No, absolutely. I can't agree with you more. For everybody who hasn't checked out our CBDC episode, please do so. It's on our playlist on YouTube. This is incredibly important topic for everybody to understand, because you're exactly right what you're saying, and what that lady said. It's really something that none of us want. They already did they have a situation with the traditional financial system where they do this all the time. The most recent story of this is with the Free Speech Union, which I think is so ridiculously ironic. And they literally froze all of their accounts. PayPal did, for basically saying something that they didn't like. So this is the kind of stuff that happens. But what the serious issue here with this is that if this is allowed, it is going to be brought to an Orwellian level, an ultimate Orwellian level, in which anybody who is participating in these CBDCs will have basically their freedom taken away from them, because it's not only what they're talking about is not only based on, for example, if you don't, like that one lady was saying, well, if you buy a lot of a certain product that they don't like or that's not in their agenda, but also they are talking a lot about what China is already doing with social scores, where they basically put this social score together with these algorithms that look at your social media posts, and a lot of different things, and they give you a social score. And if your social score goes below a certain amount, then you don't have access to your money. So it's literally, it's fascist. It's very scary. And this is one of the reasons why we're doing what we're doing at Meta One, because this is going to be the future of the traditional financial system, because the government, especially the United States, which, go back and watch that CBDC episode if you haven't already. There's a CBDC tracker in the show notes. Check that out, because about 90% of the governments in the world are already working on a CBDC in some kind of way. And the US government is farther down the path than most. They're not as far as Canada. Canada already has one in test, in pilot, but these governments are just going to push this stuff through. And that is the time where we have the choice. We can either start to say no and start to use things like Meta One and other decentralized cryptocurrencies, which is the complete opposite of CBDCs, or we can go the other direction and have our freedom taken away. So it's a really important thing that everybody needs to pay attention to, keep up to date on, because this stuff is going fast. Just for example, this article, Australia is looking at a completion of a CBDC pilot in 2023. So all of our Australian listeners, you need to be paying close attention to this, and you need to be looking for alternatives to keep your money, and how to, start getting used to using crypto, et cetera, because that is the way to get out of this. So yeah, I think it's the most important of our century, for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, the saddest part is that we're already there. As you can see, I brought this article up where it's explaining that Australia already has a pilot for a CBDC to be completed in 2023. So we're already, a year away from this. And like you said, Canada already is in their pilot phase as well for a CBDC. So we're already there. And if we don't act, if we don't demand our government and the people that represent us to make changes in the policies, of money, I guess our main concern should be that we should separate money from the state, just the same way that we separated church from the state. And if we do not, if we do not reach that, it's game over for us, because the United States and all the world has already become what they were running from. The
Yep.
people in the United States, they were running from injustice, they were running, from the government, they were running from all that horrible stuff. And guess what? All that horrible stuff just caught up with us. So where are we gonna run? I mean, there's nowhere, there's no new continent to run. Mars sucks. I'm not gonna go to Mars. So we gotta do something right now. If we don't do something right now, it's game over.
Yeah, and people have to remember, you have to remember who you are. You have to remember that you have the power. And if enough of us come together, there's nothing that they can do to stop us, because there is way more of us than there is of them. And that's what's important. People need to be upset about the fact that the government is spending so much money. People need to stop participating in the centralized system that is corrupt and prejudiced and unbalanced and greedy. That is the solution, and people need to wake up to this. And you're 100% right. The founding fathers of the United States of America are rolling in their graves right now that this is actually happening. It is unbelievable. And the fact that the U.S. is one of the most highly taxed places in the world, it is the most. There are more laws in the United States than I think any other country on the planet. And what did the founding fathers, like you said, run away from England to find? They came to find freedom. They came to find no taxes. And look at where we have let this monster get to. And unfortunately, the U.S. is also a reflection of most of the rest of the world. Like you were saying, the U.S. dollar, but we are seeing this with so many other currencies around the world now, with this inflation and everything else, because the British, the Bank of England is printing money like crazy. Portugal is printing money like crazy. Spain is printing money like crazy. Italy, all of these countries are doing the same thing. And this is why we have massive devaluation in currency. But the crazy thing is the United States is literally on track to become the next Venezuela. And that's really not a far-fetched thing. It can really happen, and it can happen fast. So, people need to, I hear a lot of this when talking to people, that they're kind of they don't really believe that it's real or it's happening. They think they have more time. They think they can kind of just dilly-dally, I'm just going to keep on doing the same thing. And I'm sorry to tell you that if you continue to go down the same path of having your money in a bank, having your money in these traditional centralized financial systems, in my personal opinion, from all of what I've seen, you are going to lose that, and it's going to be lost fast, because the way that the world is going right now, I mean, one of the articles that I really wanted to dive into today was about how there has been $13 trillion wiped off of the markets in the traditional markets in the last about 12 days. 13 trillion. And unfortunately, with the situation that we have right now, I don't really think that is all that we're going to see. I think we're going to see a lot more. So people need to really take this seriously. I cannot stress that enough. And I think you agree.
I completely agree. And I don't know if you heard, but in several countries, banks are no longer giving money to their customers. So I think it was in Sri Lanka, in China, on Lebanon. The other day, I saw that a lot of people got into the bank with guns, and the people that got into the bank with the guns were, the actual customers, because the bank was not giving the money to their customers. So they weren't really stealing the money, because the bank owed them that money. And there were several cases where, the brother of someone was dying, the father of someone was dying, and the bank just didn't want to give them their money back. So they had to go in with guns, and, you know, take people hostage. Well, the people that were working for the bank, they took some of those people hostage, and eventually the bank decided to give them their money back. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is that there is no reason for us to go there. There is no reason for us to have to go get a gun and, you know, hold some people prisoner just because the bank doesn't want to give us our money back. And that's not just in Lebanon. I mean, it's also happening in other countries. Like I said, we had this happen on China. This happened in Sri Lanka as well. I think it also happened in Turkey. It's happening in a lot of places in the world. So we gotta understand that if this happened to them, it can happen to us as well. We're not special. We're not bulletproof. I mean, this can happen anywhere to anyone, and we need to prepare ourselves for the worst case scenario, because it's gonna happen if we continue to give power to the Fed and, you know, to the government and these private institutions that are printing money out of thin air. It's game over for us.
That's right, 100%, absolutely. So, you know, this is not about doom and gloom. Definitely, we're not about that. We're not about scare, you know, fear mongering or anything like that. It's just about reality. And, you know, I believe that humanity can overcome this, and I believe that if enough of us choose to use the incredible technology that is blockchain, then we really can change the way that the world works. And you know, there may be some out there that are listening that are not as familiar with the crypto space, and they have a lot of questions like, well, how do I do this, or how do I do that, or how do I live on crypto? Is that even possible? So on and so forth. And you know, I want to say it definitely 100% is. You know, we at MetaOne are working hard to launch the MetaVault Association, which is going to allow for a crypto to fiat debit card, so anybody can spend cryptocurrency at any place around the world that accepts MasterCard. Additionally, there are a lot of other services out there that you can do. I know people, and I actually personally do a lot of my spending in crypto and my living expenses. Now, I will admit, I'm not 100% there, because there are a couple of things that I do have to pay that I just am not able to do it in crypto. But there's a lot of really cool services out there, and you can do it. And I know that you, Fernando, you mostly do it yourself as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have money in the banks, but I'm trying to spend all my money in the bank and just leave everything in crypto, because I personally do not trust the banks anymore after seeing everything that's going on. I mean, I feel sad that it is this way, because at the end of the day, like I've always said, I'm not looking to go to war with the government. I'm not looking to go to war with anyone. I just want, you know, for diplomacy to take place and create new rules that can favor everyone. You know, if the government if they crave power, I mean, I don't care. I mean, I don't crave power. If you want to be at power, that's fine. Just create some decent rules, you know. I mean, hey, you like power, cool. I'm not interested, but just make decent enough rules so you can keep your power, you know. Like if you make you know, good rules that are okay with everyone, I mean, you can keep your crown and whatever, and no one's gonna judge you. No one's gonna say anything to you, because the rules are fair enough. But you know, you want to keep your power, and you want to be abusive, and you want everyone to know to suffer and not have enough money to pay for rent and pay for electricity and all that. That's not cool. I mean, eventually they're gonna take the power away from you. So, I mean, if you like power and you want to keep your power, make sure you don't give, you know, any reasons to the people to take that power away from you.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. And, you know, to your point about, you know, just wanting to be able to live in the way you want to live, you know, I mean, that's so fundamentally important, and something that we have gotten so far away from. You know, it's like going back to the origination of the United States of America. You know, the United States of America was founded on the principles of common English law, which common English law principles are very simple. I can literally break it down for you in in a sentence or less. Basically what it is as long as you're not harming someone else or harming someone else's property, you can do whatever you want. And I think that that is a beautiful, simplistic way to live, because if you think about it, it is respecting other human beings, respecting their privacy and their material things, and then it allows us to live in the way we want to live. Because at the end of the day, humanity is a great, unique expression of life, and we are all very different, and we want to live in a different way. Just like I asked the question, why do I have to participate in a system, pay taxes, all of these things? Why do I have to participate in a system if I disagree with that system? If I don't like that the government is sending money to the Ukraine and spending billions upon trillions of dollars on war and all of these different things that are not helping or making my life any better, why do I have to participate in that system? I should be able to live in the place that I want to live in the United States of America or anywhere. And as long as I'm not harming someone else or someone else's property, I should be able to just be able to live the way that I want to live. And we've gotten so far away from that to a point where you as someone who lives in the United States of America, I don't even think that there's a human brain that has the capacity to know all of the laws, rules, regulations that we have in the United States. It's mind-blowing if you look at the United States Code.
Yeah.
And you know, this is not unlike a lot of other different countries in the world where you are forced into participating in a system, even if you disagree. And that's just not the way it should be. So we have the power to change this because we are the people, we are humanity. These governments, I believe the world is waking up more and more to the fact that they're not representative of us. They don't give a crap about us. They just care about getting reelected and making their lives comfortable and having power, like you said. And we're not getting anywhere. We're going in this vicious cycle and loop of boom and bust, war and peace, boom and bust. And you know, it's time. It's time for us as a human race to make a different choice. And I'm very encouraged because I see more and more people making this realization. I was just speaking with someone the other day and they were saying that they read some statistic that 73% of Americans now are believing conspiracy theorists or something, or don't trust the government or something like that. And I was like, that is awesome, because you know, funnily enough, a lot of conspiracy theories are true. They're not really conspiracy theories.
I mean, they're not conspiracy theories, they're the truth. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you call when you get the president of your country assassinated? A conspiracy theory or the
Yeah.
truth?
Yeah.
Because that happened. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys don't remember that JFK got shot in the head. That's
Yeah.
not a conspiracy theory. That's the truth. So what
Yeah.
what do you make of that? You know what?
Yeah.
Why do you keep believing that oh, that's a conspiracy theory? No, the president got shot in the face right in front of you and every single American and human being in the world.
Yeah.
There is a hidden agenda, and it's not hidden. They're doing it in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. And you know, this whole I don't know, I just truly do not believe that we are going to go back to what we financially, where the markets and the global financial machine has been at for the last 10 plus years. We have complete, just absolute chaos and out there. And we also have governments doing like, I don't know, I just feel like more and more we're a circus and there's a bunch of clowns running around that we're watching, and they're bumping into each other because it's insane. You know, on the one hand, we've already talked a lot about the Fed and what they're doing, don't need to go into that anymore, but then we have the Biden administration spending more money than ever passing things like the Inflation Reduction Act. I can't even say that with a straight face.
Yeah, I know.
Giving billions of dollars to the Ukraine on a regular basis, doing all of these other things, spending, when it feels like that they, I know this is it's on purpose, but it's nuts because I don't feel like these people even understand what the definition of inflation is, and the fact that they are creating more inflation by basically it's kind of like a cat or a dog chasing its tail. It's like the Fed is the dog, and or more like the dog is the Biden administration and the Fed is the tail. And the Fed is, not a not a good organization either, but they're doing this quantitative tightening and trying to get inflation under control, even though it's never going to happen. And the Biden administration is creating more inflation at the same time. It's the same thing like you were talking about before with the British, the Bank of England. So I just found this article, and basically the bond markets all over the world have really been doing very badly. And the UK bond market is at a place where they literally said it was in a death spiral. And so the Bank of England has started quantitative easing again. So but here's what people need to understand is that means that they're going to be pumping more money into circulation. This means more devaluing of the pound. We already have the pound at the lowest level it's ever been in 37 years. It's like $1.05 right now or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you have this energy crisis, which the governments in Europe are kind of just pretending like it's fine and that they fixed it, but they haven't. And you have all of these different things. And now you have the Bank of England doing quantitative easing, which is simply just going to create more hyperinflation. And it's this same idea that they have had forever and ever and ever, which is kick the can down the road, kick the can down the road, kick the can down the road.
What they're doing, they're using one credit card to pay for another credit card,
Yes.
creating more debt. And they're doing that infinitely until they realize, oh, the system no longer works because we created too much inflation. Okay, well, you pay for the broken glasses and we'll just keep on, doing whatever we want.
Yep, 100%. And, this is the thing is we're not gonna be able to do this for much longer, because if you look at this is just the United States. This is the US federal debt to income ratio is at 124% GDP. So that's how much it's insane. And it's just going to get worse, and so it's really important for people to realize this and to do your own research and really make your own decisions when it comes to what you're going to do. But I would really highly recommend everybody making a move in some aspect, because this is not sustainable. I mean, sure, maybe it goes on for a few more years or whatever, but it's just not sustainable. And at one point, it's not going to be even viable anymore. Like you said, they're just going to do it until they realize that something's really broken and the credit card to pay for the other credit card doesn't work. And that's it,
It works for a couple of years until you realize, like, there's no way to get out of that problem because you dug your own hole. So how do you get out of it? And just keep printing and creating more debt and, using the other credit card to pay the other credit card. But eventually, the roosters are going to come home and, you got to solve the problem, or I don't know what's going to happen, but eventually you got to pay your debt.
Yeah, 100%. And, that's why we're doing what we're doing at MetaOne. That's why we're building Metanomics. That's why we built a appreciating stablecoin that is solid as ever. We've seen a lot of stability lately in the coin, which is amazing with all of what's happening in the global markets. And Really, it's one of the only things they can't touch. It's really insane. And I'm excited for the future, though. I want to say that because I really think that this is a huge opportunity for humanity to free itself. And there's a massive opportunity here. So if we all continue to educate, we all continue to learn, we all continue to use the tools and the solutions that are already created to this problem, then we can move away from this shit show of a centralized financial system and restore some sanity and truth and honor and transparency in our world. So we are way over an hour. It's been a great episode, lots of fun. I always love doing this. And do you have any closing words, Fernando?
I would just like to say to our investors that, we're fighting for freedom, and this is pretty much a war, and we're not going to win the war in 1 month or 2 months or 3 months.
Yeah.
So we're building a company. We're building, an infrastructure for freedom, and it's going to take some time. So to all the people that, that they're desperate for an update to happen in 1 day or something like that, please be patient. We are working for you. We're working for the world. We're working for freedom, but it's going to take some time. So work with us, fight with us, and we're going to get there.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And we appreciate all of our members and everybody who is continuing to support the movement of freedom. And it's amazing. I look back on the journey so far, and it's cool. I think it's the biggest challenge you could ever go up against in this world right now is carving a new path away from the massive giant beast that is the centralized financial system. So we're working hard towards that every single day, and we appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, we will see you later.
See you later.
Bye, everybody.